Hey millionaires! If you have a Bicentennial Washington quarter dollar in your pocket, wallet, or coin jar right now, it just might turn the tables for you. What appears to be just another old quarter could be worth much more than 25 cents. But you'll need to know exactly what to look for. And that's why you'll want to stick around until the end of this video. Not only will we dive into why this coin is so unique and valuable, but we'll also talk about how you can actually sell it. So let's get into the fascinating world of the 1776 to 1976 Bicentennial Washington quarter. To begin with, the coin was minted to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the United States independence. That in itself makes it a commemorative piece, but the details that went into its design and production make it even more special. Unlike the standard Washington quarters, the reverse side of the Bicentennial quarter features a colonial drummer with a torch encircled by 13 stars in the background. This design was created by Jack L.R., whose initials appear just below the drummer's left arm. And if you've ever noticed the dual date 1776 to 1976 on the front where the regular year normally goes, that's another mark that this coin is not your everyday pocket change. Now, millions, yes, hundreds of millions of these quarters were minted, and that has led many people to believe they're not rare or valuable. But that's only half the truth. While it's true that these coins were widely circulated, certain varieties and conditions have made some of them highly collectible. That's what separates a 25-cent coin from one that can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars online. Let's talk about the different types of bicentennial quarters you might come across. First, there are the standard circulation strikes that were minted at Philadelphia and Denver. These will have no mint mark or a D on the obverse, respectively. Then, there are proof and silver-clad versions that were struck at the San Francisco Mint. Coins from this mint have an S mark, and many of them were made for collectors, not circulation. Here's the kicker. The San Francisco Mint released both copper-nickel-clad proof coins and 40% silver-clad coins. If you have one of these silver-clad coins, even in circulated condition, it could be worth several dollars. In uncirculated or proof condition, the value climbs dramatically. But even within these general categories, the real gems are error coins, coins in exceptional condition, and those with special finishes. Collectors are always on the hunt for coins with errors. Double dies, off-center strikes, and other minting mistakes can make a bicentennial quarter significantly more valuable. For example, a double die obverse, where the details of George Washington's face and the date are slightly doubled, can be extremely rare. In recent eBay listings, some of these error coins have sold for over $500, and a few have crossed the $1,000 mark. That's a huge leap from 25 cents, isn't it? Then there's the matter of condition. A coin's grade, ranging from good all the way up to mint state 70, plays a major role in determining its value. A bicentennial quarter graded MS65 or higher by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC can command a premium price. There are examples on eBay of MS67 and MS68 graded coins selling for $100, $300, or even more, depending on demand and condition. Coins that look like they just came out of the mint, with no scratches, no wear, and full luster, are considered the cream of the crop. If you're holding on to a silver-proof bicentennial quarter with a mirror-like finish and no damage, congratulations, you already have something special. But if it's also graded by a top service and comes with certification, its value increases significantly. The silver content alone gives it intrinsic value, but the collector appeal adds another layer of worth. Now, let's talk about what kind of prices we're actually seeing on eBay today. A quick check reveals some real surprises. A 40% silver-proof bicentennial quarter in a graded slab by PCGS recently sold for $85. Another auction had a raw uncirculated silver quarter go for over $40. But the real standouts are the error coins, especially the double die and off-center strikes. One listed as a double die reverse with clear doubling on the drummer and torch area fetched $1,300 at auction. Yes, you heard that right, $1,300. And while some of these listings might seem like outliers, There's consistent evidence of bicentennial quarters selling for $20, $50, $100 and more, particularly when they're silver, proof, or contain noticeable mint errors. Even raw coins, meaning ungraded, can sell for a premium if the photos are clear and the condition is visibly strong. You might be wondering how to tell if your coin is silver or not. One simple method is to look at the edge of the coin. If you see a copper-colored strip along the side, then it's not silver, it's the standard copper nickel-clad. But if the edge looks uniformly silver or has a slightly darker tone with no copper color, it might be a 40% silver version. Still, for full confirmation, you may want to weigh the coin or have it tested by a professional. It's also worth noting that not all silver bicentennial quarters are valuable just because they're silver. Many of them were collected and preserved, so their condition matters just as much as their metal content. A worn-out silver coin might still be worth more than face value, but collectors are really looking for coins in pristine condition. The Susan B. Anthony dollar coin was first minted in 1979. It was a big deal, the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical woman, Susan B. Anthony, a pioneer of women's rights. That alone makes this coin historically significant. But the original design had some issues. The coin was roughly the same size and color as a quarter, which led to confusion in daily transactions. People didn't like it, and by 1981, production stopped. Fast forward almost 2 decades, and in 1999, the U.S. Mint brought it back. Why? There was a sudden demand for dollar coins, particularly from public transit systems and vending machine operators. The government needed a quick solution before the Sacagawea dollar was introduced in 2000, so they reissued the SBA dollar for one final year. So that makes 1999 the last and final year the Susan B. Anthony dollar was ever minted. And whenever something is a last edition, collectors start to pay close attention. There are 3 versions of the 1999 Susan B. Anthony dollar. 1999p, minted in Philadelphia. 1999d, minted in Denver. 1999p proof, minted in San Francisco, but only for collectors. Now here's the thing, the regular 1999p and 1999d coins were made for circulation. You could find them in change or bank rolls. But the 1999p proof, that one was never released into circulation. It was made for special collector sets only. And because of that, the proof coins are often in near-perfect condition. Combine that with limited production numbers, and you've got a coin that collectors are actively seeking. Now let's talk about what makes a 1999 SBA dollar valuable. First, condition. If your coin is beat up or heavily circulated, it probably won't fetch much more than face value. But if it's in brilliant uncirculated condition, or even better if it's been graded MS66, MS67, or MS68 by a professional grading service, the value can jump significantly. Second, mint mark. Proof coins from San Francisco are usually worth more due to their rarity and quality. Even uncirculated coins from Philadelphia or Denver can be valuable if they're in high grades. Third, error coins. Here's where it gets interesting. Some 1999 SBA dollars have minting errors like off-center strikes, wrong planchet, or doubled dies. These rare mistakes can boost a coin's value from a few dollars to hundreds, even thousands in some rare cases. So don't just glance at your coin, look closely. A small error could mean a big payday. But here's the catch: values can change frequently depending on market trends, collector demand, and auction results. Which is why it's important not to assume always get an updated price. Now, if you're thinking about selling your 1999 Susan B. Anthony coin, you might be wondering, where do I sell it? Should I get it graded first? Is eBay the best option? What if it's an error coin? And I've got answers. But I'm not going to give them all away right now. But here's the deal. If you really want to know the current value of your coin and how you can sell it for maximum profit, then drop a comment below with 1999 SBA price, and I'll reply with the latest value and the selling procedure step by step. When you do, I'll personally reply with the latest value based on your coin's condition, whether or not it's worth grading, and the step-by-step method to sell it for maximum value. Whether you're sitting on a $2 coin or a $2,000 treasure. Jefferson nickel was minted in Philadelphia, with a staggering production of over 661 million coins. At first glance, it appears to be just another coin in your pocket change. However, certain specimens have captured the attention of collectors due to unique characteristics and errors. One of the most sought-after features in Jefferson nickels is the full steps designation. This refers to the clarity of the steps on Monticello's image on the reverse side of the coin. A coin with 5 or 6 fully visible steps is considered to have a sharp strike and is more valuable. In the case of the 1990p nickel, examples with full steps in high grades are scarce and command higher prices. While most 1990p nickels are worth their face value, certain error coins have been known to fetch significant sums. For instance, a 1990p nickel struck on a dime planchet, a smaller and thinner metal disc intended for dimes, can be quite valuable due to its rarity. Another intriguing error is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is not properly aligned. Depending on the degree of misalignment, these coins can be worth more to collectors who specialize in error coins. Die clashes, where the coin dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving ghost-like images on the coins, are also of interest. Such errors in the 1990p nickel series add to the coin's allure among enthusiasts. The market for error coins is dynamic, with values fluctuating based on demand and the uniqueness of the error. Collectors often scour coin rolls and collections in hopes of discovering these anomalies. It's worth noting that while some error coins can fetch impressive prices, the majority of 1990p nickels in circulation are common and hold minimal numismatic value. However, the thrill of the hunt keeps collectors engaged and always on the lookout for that rare find. Educational resources and online communities have made it easier for collectors to identify and learn about these unique coins. Sharing discoveries and knowledge contributes to the collective understanding and appreciation of numismatics. The 1990p Jefferson nickel serves as a reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coins can hold extraordinary stories. Whether it's a rare error or a perfect strike, these coins continue to captivate and inspire those who take a closer look. For a coin struck in the hundreds of millions, you'd expect the 1990p Jefferson nickel to be mundane, just another piece of pocket change. But the world of numismatics has a way of surprising even the most seasoned collectors. Sometimes, it's the ordinary-looking coins that turn out to be the most extraordinary. Let's talk about the 1990p Jefferson nickel that made headlines by selling for an astonishing $278,000. It wasn't just about condition or luster. This coin stood out because of a striking minting error so rare, it's believed only one or two like it exist. This was a nickel struck on a copper planchet meant for a different denomination entirely, creating a dramatic off-metal error that numismatic experts had rarely seen before. That particular error, when verified by PCGS and authenticated as a legitimate off-metal strike, instantly became the stuff of legend. The collector who owned it had no idea of its value when they first discovered it in an old roll from a relative's stash. Just imagine their reaction when they were told this nickel could fetch more than the price of a luxury car, or even a house. And that's the beauty of error coins like the 1990p nickel. They invite regular people into the world of high-value collecting. You don't need to be a millionaire to find one. Sometimes, a life-changing coin is hiding in a forgotten drawer of change on top of your fridge or buried deep in a bank roll from your local branch. Collectors love the Jefferson nickel series for its consistency and variety. Since its introduction in 1938, the series has seen changes in mint marks, design details, die errors, and planchet composition. The 1990s were no exception, with the Philadelphia Mint producing many coins under high-pressure deadlines, sometimes leading to overlooked quality control issues. That's part of what makes the 1990p so appealing. Because it looks ordinary, It's often ignored by novice collectors. But that's where the seasoned pros, or the lucky beginners, step in. They know how to spot weak strikes, doubling, off-center minting, and die breaks. And when they find one, the payoff can be immense. Among these variations, full steps examples reign supreme. Most nickels, especially from the 90s, suffered from weak strikes that obliterated the steps of Monticello. But a sharply struck 1990p with full, unbroken steps is considered a numismatic prize. One MS67FS example sold for over $4,000, and that wasn't even an error coin. Let's also talk about Black Beauty nickels. These are nickels with unusually dark, almost black toning caused by improper annealing during the minting process. A few 1990p nickels show signs of this characteristic, making them highly desirable to niche collectors who specialize in color variations and toning phenomena. What makes these coins even more fascinating is how they travel through time. A nickel minted in 1990 has likely passed through hundreds of hands. It's been in pockets, car cup holders, cash registers. It's been used to buy coffee, scratched into vending machines, and forgotten in laundry rooms. And yet, some of them survive with pristine details, like a time capsule from the past. Every coin has a journey. And the 1990p that sold for nearly $300,000? Its journey was different. It was pulled from circulation early, maybe even before it entered circulation at all, and preserved without knowing its future fame. That element of mystery adds to its allure. Where has it been? How did it survive? We often think of coins in terms of silver and gold when it comes to value. But the Jefferson nickel proves that base metals can pack a punch when errors and rarity are involved. Copper nickel-clad compositions might not shine like silver, but when they're struck incorrectly or misaligned, their value skyrockets. Modern technology has brought more eyes into the hobby. Coin microscopes, smartphone apps, and high-definition photos on auction sites let collectors examine every ridge, every die crack, every potential anomaly. That's made finding a 1990p with a hidden error more realistic for everyday collectors. And the more eyes on coins, the more treasures are uncovered. YouTube, too, has played a massive role. Channels like Treasure Town and Couch Collectibles have helped the 1990p nickel rise in popularity. They highlight what to look for, like missing design elements, off-center strikes, and unusual coloration. Viewers are now digging through their change with a new sense of purpose. But what separates an average error coin from a six-figure sale? It comes down to a perfect storm of rarity, dramatic appearance, and third-party authentication. A dramatic off-metal error from the 1990p series that has visual shock factor and is confirmed by a major grading service? That's what collectors dream of. Let's not forget that the coin market is emotional. People form attachments to stories, especially stories of overlooked value. The idea that a 5-cent coin could change someone's life resonates deeply. It makes people believe that magic can still happen in everyday life. That's why the story of this nickel has spread like wildfire. Some collectors now specialize in modern-era nickels. While vintage coins like the Buffalo or Liberty Head get a lot of attention, Jefferson nickels from the late 20th century are starting to gain serious traction. As high-grade and error examples are pulled from circulation or tucked into collections, their scarcity increases. This coin also proves that you don't have to go back centuries to find value. You can find modern coins worth thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, if you know what to look for. The 1990p is a shining example of how even coins minted in our lifetime can become rare, prized artifacts. There's also something deeply satisfying about the underdog story of the 1990p. It's a coin that was never expected to stand out. It didn't come from a famous year. It wasn't minted with precious metals,